In the heart of the Sahara, where the sun painted the sands gold and the nights glittered with stars, lived a young Fennec fox named Kito. Kito was small, even for a fox, but his ears were enormous, always twitching at the whispers of the wind. He lived with his family in a cozy burrow beneath a rocky outcrop. But Kito was different. While the other foxes were content with their lives, Kito dreamed of something more. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Kito sat atop his favorite dune, staring at the endless expanse of sand. An old desert owl, perched on a nearby rock, noticed the young fox's longing gaze. "What troubles you, little one?" the owl asked, his voice as rough as the desert winds. "I want to see the ocean," Kito replied, his voice barely a whisper. "I've heard stories of a place where the sand meets the water, where the world is blue instead of gold. I want to know if it's real." The owl chuckled softly. "The ocean is a long way from here, little fox. Many have tried to find it, but few have succeeded. The desert is vast and unforgiving. Are you sure you're ready for such a journey?" Kito's ears drooped, but his eyes sparkled with determination. "I have to try. I can't spend my whole life wondering what's out there." The next morning, as the first rays of sunlight kissed the dunes, Kito set out on his journey. His family watched him go, their hearts heavy with worry but proud of his courage. Kito carried only a small pouch of water and a heart full of hope. The first challenge, the sandstorm. The desert was as beautiful as it was treacherous. Kito marveled at the golden dunes that stretched endlessly before him, their peaks glowing in the sunlight. But the heat was relentless, and the sand burned his paws. He pressed on, guided by the stories he'd heard and the stars that lit his way at night. On the third day, the sky darkened ominously, the wind howled, and the sand began to swirl around him. Kito had heard tales of sandstorms, but had never experienced one. Panic set in as the storm engulfed him, reducing visibility to zero. He dug his paws into the sand, trying to anchor himself, but the wind was too strong. Just as he thought he would be swept away, he spotted a small crevice in a nearby rock formation. With all his strength, he crawled into the shelter and waited out the storm. When the storm passed, Kito emerged, his fur coated in sand and his body trembling. But he felt a newfound respect for the desert's power. "If I can survive this," he thought, "I can survive anything." The second challenge, the hawk. Days turned into weeks, and Kito's journey grew more arduous. His water supply dwindled, and the heat seemed to grow more intense with each passing day. One afternoon, as he rested in the shade of a withered tree, a shadow passed overhead. Kito looked up to see a hawk circling above, its sharp eyes locked on him. The hawk dove, its talons glinting in the sun. Kito darted to the side, narrowly avoiding the attack. He ran as fast as his small legs could carry him, his heart pounding in his chest. The hawk swooped again and again, each time coming closer. Desperate, Kito spotted a narrow crack in a nearby rock and squeezed inside, just as the hawk's talons scraped against the stone. Breathing heavily, Kito waited until the hawk flew away. He realized that the desert was not only vast, but also filled with dangers he had never imagined. But he couldn't give up. Not now. The third challenge, the mirage. As Kito continued his journey, he began to see shimmering pools of water in the distance. His heart leapt with hope, but each time he approached, the water vanished, leaving only dry sand. Frustration and despair crept into his heart. Is the ocean even real, he wondered? Or is it just a mirage, like these pools of water? One particularly scorching day, Kito collapsed onto the sand, his body weak and his spirit broken. He closed his eyes, ready to give up. But then he heard a soft voice. "Little fox, Why do you lie here?" Kito opened his eyes to see a wise old tortoise looking down at him. The tortoise's shell was weathered and cracked, but his eyes were kind. "I'm searching for the ocean," Kito whispered, "but I don't know if it's real." The tortoise smiled. "The ocean is real, little one, but the journey to find it is not just about reaching a destination. It's about discovering who you are along the way." The tortoise shared his water with Kito and taught him how to find moisture in the desert plants. With renewed strength and hope, Kito continued his journey. The fourth challenge: the lonely camel. Days later, Kito encountered a lonely camel wandering the dunes. The camel's fur was matted, and his eyes were filled with sadness. "Why are you alone?" Kito asked. "I lost my herd," the camel replied. "I've been searching for them, but the desert is too vast." Kito felt a pang of sympathy. "Maybe we can help each other," he suggested. "I'm searching for the ocean. If you help me, I'll help you find your herd." The camel agreed, and together they traveled across the desert. The camel carried Kito across long stretches of sand, and Kito used his sharp eyes and ears to spot signs of the camel's herd. Along the way, they shared stories and laughter, and Kito learned the value of friendship and teamwork. The final challenge: the ocean. After weeks of travel, Kito and the camel reached the edge of the desert. The air grew cooler, and the scent of salt filled Kito's nose. His heart raced as he climbed a final dune, and there, stretching out before him, was the ocean. It was more magnificent than he had ever imagined. The water sparkled like 1,000 diamonds under the moonlight, and the waves crashed against the shore with a rhythm that felt like the heartbeat of the world. Kito stood there, his ears twitching with wonder, his heart swelling with joy. He had done it. He had reached the ocean. As the sun rose, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, Kito dipped his paw into the water, feeling its coolness against his fur. He realized that the journey had changed him. He was no longer the same little fox who had set out from his burrow. He was stronger, braver, and wiser, and he knew that no dream was too big, no journey too far, as long as he had the courage to take the first step. Every dream begins with a single step. What's yours? Follow Kito's journey and let his courage inspire you to chase your own big dream. Watch the little wanderer's big dream and discover the magic of believing in the impossible. The music swells as the screen fades to black, leaving the audience with the title and a final message: Dream big, wander far.